I mean, it mostly comes down to laning, but there's definitely some mindset stuff too.
Yeah.
But like, I have been working on like my the mindset is definitely better than it was from when I previously played League. I can say that at least.
Um. So what causes the tilt?
Um, so if I'm playing with my friends, sometimes it's them, if I'm being totally honest. But
Yikes, man.
if only sometimes. It's mostly like when things start going wrong, like, or if as soon as I perceive that I think things are starting to go wrong, like if I go for an all in and like I barely fail and they kill me and I die,
Hmm.
when I was like one hit away or something, even if I shouldn't, like, or like if the I mean if the team is being toxic, sometimes I know you're not really supposed to blame others, but if they're being difficult to deal with, it doesn't make it any easier. Um, but mostly I feel like as soon as I feel like things start going wrong, sometimes is where the tilt starts.
Yeah. Um. So got some pretty simple fixes for those. The easiest one is team being toxic. Unless
What, you
it's
just mute them?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean I know that's what I end up doing, but
I keep chat permanently off. Like
okay.
I don't even have it in the game. It's just off. I don't mute all. It just like in the settings took away chat.
Mm.
If if you're up to doing that, it's very helpful. But some people gotta have their chat. Um, but then you said if the game is going badly, you get tilted. Um,
Yes.
so does it happen in normals?
I haven't played a normal in a little bit, but
All right. What about an Earth?
n I mean in Earth it only happens again, like it doesn't really happen. I'm trying to there was like one or two champs that pissed me off, but I mean it's Earth. Like I can mostly laugh that stuff off.
Yeah.
Like Earth, ARAM, stuff like that. Like maybe I'll get annoyed for a minute, but it goes away.
Okay. Um, but that's not really because of how the game going. It's just because you hate the champion in Earth,
Right.
at least.
Right, yeah. But
Um, so it sounds what you need to do is disconnect um, your mental with LP. So whenever you play, your goal should not be to. I mean, obviously you should want to win the game, but that shouldn't be your primary focus. Uh, so every time you go into a game, you should be trying to play the best possible that you can, because that way, if you're always playing the best that you can, on average, you'll climb.
sure.
So, and this also includes games where you surrender at 15. All the way up until the game is over, you should be playing like you're still trying to win the game. Because it doesn't actually matter if you win or lose that game, it's still a chance to play from behind
Mm,
or some other factor. And if you're consistently playing well, it's going to be a lot harder to get tilted when you know you played well and you just had a rough game than getting stomped and then losing LP, because that's where it really
right.
tilts you.
You mean like 1-9?
Yeah. And that probably happened because you got tilted because the game was going badly and then it just spiraled. So if you just focus on, okay, I died, how do I play off that? You're going to play better than if you get tilted from potentially losing LP.
Right.
Not always the easiest mindset to implement, though. It can take a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Um, so are we trying to
So,
invade? Or?
okay, so if you so this was just it was really funny at the moment for whatever reason, because we were a 5 stack. For whatever reason, our Morgana was away from computer, even though we told her we were going to invade. So we don't actually end up fully invading here. We started moving down because we're like, we have Morgana. You know, Dark Binding sets up easy kills if you land it. Maybe we can invade. But she was not there, so we don't really invade. No.
Okay.
My friend plays a lot of Oriana, and he always postures like this because then you can like throw the ball into a position, get vision, and see what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's necessarily the right thing to do, but
Uh-huh.
I'm almost positive that yeah, I just walk away here because our Morgana is not there, and then yeah.
GP annoyance starts.
Yup, at minute 0.
Gonna keep watching for a little bit before I talk.
That's fine.
Um. Okay. A lot of poke. So now we're down our potion, taking a lot of poke. GP didn't play it very well. It definitely could have poked you more. But so we agreed that GP's not really a melee champion, right?
Yeah, no, he's a
Yeah.
fake melee.
Yeah. Um.
And I
So,
mean, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like my mindset going into this, which may have been wrong, but is I mean, at low levels, the cooldown is way too long, but the idea was if I put points in W and just W every time he goes to Q me to try to poke him back. That was the idea. Obviously, the discrepancy is way too high,
yeah.
but that was sort of the thought process because otherwise I can't do anything to him. At least, or that's how I see it at least. But yeah, he's not a real melee champ. He's a fake melee champ.
Yeah. You could do that as W. Um. It works just for the shield, if anything. Um. But into any ranged matchup, and this goes for any melee versus range,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be walking up to minions that you don't have to last hit. Because there's no reason to last hit the minions at this point. Because you can't go for level 2 first, because he's going to poke you to half HP if you try that.
Mm-hmm.
So the best option is to just stand in the bush. And then you wait until the minion's about to be last hittable, walk over, auto it, and walk back in the bush.
Okay, so just live in the bush.
Yes. Until the wave pushes you, and then you can farm under turret.
Okay.
And the reason that this works is because he can't Q you when you're in the bush.
Right.
If he wards it, then he's down a ward, and your jungler can gank him, first off. But also, you could just walk to another bush. He only has one ward. And if... So let's say he wards this bush, and you walk into this one, standing here. If he tries to walk in to fight you, that's terrible for him, because he's in melee range with a Sett.
Right.
So either way, you're in the advantage, as long as you don't get greedy to start hitting minions early.
Okay. That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, so should have just hung back here.
And at the end of this session, I don't remember if I told you this or not already. I'll send you a list of stuff that you can work on, so you don't have to write stuff down while we're
Oh,
talking.
okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm already writing a couple things down, but no, that's awesome. I don't really know when exactly to ward. That's kind of why I just walked over and placed it.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember you said that now. Well, you didn't directly say that, but you said not get ganked at the start, which has to do with
Yeah, correct.
warding. So go back to start landing phase. I probably should put it where it's just your vision. Okay. So how can we determine where Warwick starts?
Well, I mean, unless you invade, like he's either. I don't know his jungle pathing. I assume he's either gonna. I assume he starts red, but he could start blue. I mean, unless he shows somewhere on the map, or if you have your unless he shows somewhere on the map, you're not gonna know. Or if you have your little scent thing above your head, right? That means he's fairly close to you.
Well, you had to
Or
be low
no?
HP for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah. So I don't know. I assume I'm guessing he starts red. A lot of melee junglers do, but
So let me play a little bit longer. Um, okay. So where do you start? I gave you a hint.
I don't understand
You're
how you did.
here at the same time as GP.
Oh, so he started blue. GP didn't leash, or sorry, he
Started,
started
yeah,
red. GP didn't
yes,
leash.
exactly.
Okay.
If the bot lane doesn't show up and top lane shows up, he's at blue, or sorry, red. And then if bot lane doesn't show, I got it backwards. So if bot lane's
Right. If
not there,
GP
he's
is
at
late to
red.
lane, he leashed. If he's not late, he didn't leash.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way, if they do that, you can always know where they started.
Okay.
The only exception to this would be like really high elo when they try to do mind games and like fake leash, but you don't have to worry
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's how you know that Warwick starts red. So if we know that Warwick's starting red, do we have an idea of when we should expect him to be top,
In
or at
terms of
least around top?
so in terms of act from my I mean, he probably from my limited experience with jungling, he probably like red, wolves or krugs, blue, and then crab, and then he'll either come top or mid. Unless he went for the bottom crab, but he should go for the top crab. Yeah, he should go for the top crab because that's near his blue. So around like the crab spawns at like 3 minutes. So shortly after then, he could show up top or mid.
So yeah, he's probably gonna gank around 3.5 minutes. A good indicator of when they're likely to gank is by watching your own jungler. Um, so if you watch Udyr, they're gonna be going probably the same path, pretty much.
Right, just on the opposite side.
Yeah. And so if we watch here, oh, he actually skipped Raptors, but like this, he goes Wolves, and then see Udyr's here, Warwick's here. You can get a pretty good idea. Now, some will obviously clear faster than others, but it gives you a pretty good indication of when they're going to be showing up.
Right.
So you can just pay attention to that, and that should be telling you generally when they're going to be there. So by knowing that, we should be warding around the time that Warwick's going to show up.
Okay, so this just so you know, this right here with this complete lack of communication between Udyr and I, yeah, that is both. He didn't say not like it's not he didn't say anything, but I also wasn't paying attention, so that was just like a super fail fest. So that was just garbage, and then I try to help him, but.
Yeah, so you actually awarded around the right time.
Oh, good.
Whether it was consciously or not.
It wasn't really conscious, but we'll take it.
We'll see how you fought this. Only thing I can say, I mean, obviously you should have been looking, but
right.
When it comes to this point, you just W'd way too early.
Yeah, I know. I noticed it as I did it.
Yeah. coming in hot. So yeah, anytime you deal with a jungler, like Warwick here, where'd he go? Yeah, there he goes. If they don't really leave your side, especially here when he kills Udyr, you should expect he's gonna try to wrap around.
Yeah, I should have stayed further back. Yeah, and then I have to flash because I didn't stay further back. I can't... I don't remember at what point GP gets Sheen, but basically when he gets Sheen is when I feel like my life is over.
Yeah.
So I also chose not to teleport back to lane. That was fine, right? Because the wave wasn't at the tower or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay, because it's pushing into you, so you're not missing much.
Okay.
I don't like how you did this, though. Pushing it's really bad. Because it doesn't actually stop GP from missing anything. And it gives him the opportunity to freeze the wave if he wanted to. If he freezes the wave, your laning phase is over, if he does it properly. Because you're never going to get the farm. But, fortunately, he pushes it back. And it's okay. But what I was looking for you to do... Go back... As we get to lane... as I said, it's pushing into you because he has far more minions than you.
Yep.
And if you just last hit it, you can just wait for it to push into you, and then look to freeze it yourself to make it much safer.
Much easier, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to be a lot more conscious about that.
So we have a couple instances where we've shoved the wave all the way, which, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like, but if we're gonna go with that play, there are things that you could be doing instead of just kind of walking in a circle, waiting on him to push back. So...
Like, go drop a ward or...
Well,
something.
yes, if you had wards, you could do that, but
yeah,
they're on cooldown. But you could be going over and grabbing this plant.
Yeah, that's just for free healing.
Yeah. So it'd be way easier to deal with the poke from GP.
Yeah, that's good.
And then later on, if you pushed it again after that, you could also grab the Rift Scuttler.
So we need to not push the wave, or at least do something.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you wouldn't push the wave in this matchup, but I was mostly telling you that for instances where it would be correct to push.
Okay.
So that you would know what to do during that window.
Yeah, so like up until now, like things don't feel so bad. Like I haven't died. I used flash, and Gangplank is really annoying, but we're just sort of going back and forth here. but the thing is, I know that Gangplank is gonna scale like a motherfucker.
Yep.
So then I do it again as I push the friggin' wave in, which doesn't accomplish anything. It just lets him farm it.
Well, you don't have a choice now because you bought Tiamat. Once you buy Tiamat, you have to push the wave.
Okay, so that's so either don't buy Tiamat, or I guess that's what it comes down to, is don't buy Tiamat.
I mean, I guess technically you could freeze the wave with Tiamat, but it's very, very difficult.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's one of because that's like one of the on Sett and on other champions too, like Camille, I guess.
mhm.
It like these people who want to get like Black Cleaver or Triforce or something, they're I I don't know. I don't know what it is. I buy Tiamat early. I mean, if my opponent also buys one, I mean, I know he's not going to, but like if it's melee and the other guy buys one, I kind of feel like I have to buy it so that we're pushing at roughly the same rate. But like, I don't know. That might just be a total itemization, mistake.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I like it on Sett for a bunch of reasons. Like especially with your E, you can cancel the last part of the animation. Um, but I mean, it could just be wrong here.
So yeah, if you want to go for Tiamat, that's fine. It's just you have to play it differently. You can't freeze the wave against the GP.
Well, I mean, I don't think I've been doing that
Yeah, well,
anyway.
obviously you haven't, yeah, but that would be the ideal way to be playing it if you didn't buy Tiamat. Um, but because we bought Tiamat, we just play it differently. Which it's good to talk about that because most of the time you will be buying Tiamat anyway.
Hmm.
Um, but as I was gonna say earlier, when it comes to this ward, I don't like the placement. Um, so first off, if you're gonna be warding a bush, it needs to be here because you're missing out on vision.
Okay.
Um, but also, I don't like the actual bush itself that you placed it in. It should have been in this bush.
It should. Okay.
So why do you think I want it in this bush compared to this bush?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Hmm.
I mean, the top bush sees more of. I mean, if Warwick was to be in my jungle, it would see him there. Um, Other than that, I mean, I don't know if that's just a more common way for him to approach to gank is through that bush. If it is, then yeah, it should be in that bush. But
Okay, so the reason that you throw um, control ward in this bush is because it's easier to protect.
okay,
Um,
yeah, the laner can't just walk over and kill it.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm
So
pretty sure
yeah.
that exact thing will happen in a couple seconds.
Mhm. Because if he goes and tries to clear it here, especially with your Udyr being near Krugs, if Udyr is paying attention and he tries to go kill this control ward, you guys can just kill him over that control ward.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot harder to protect here. So here is where you'd be throwing a stealth ward. And you could even throw the stealth ward a little bit further and have it like here or something. You don't necessarily
Okay.
have to have it in the bush.
Okay.
So we're dealing with barrel poke slash Q poke. This
So
is
yeah,
where it
the
goes
green.
bad, huh?
Well,
Oh,
no, that was just being greedy. I mean, I was still a little greedy, but I don't. I'm pretty sure I don't die. Yeah, I don't die.
yeah. Burned
And and
everything.
and I could have totally. I'm pretty sure I foobarred that. Like, I'm pretty sure I could have got him if I did something, anything better than I did.
But I actually like that we're pushing it here because GP had to recall.
Right.
Um, I would have left after that wave though, and it looks like you're at least backing up. We're staying a little bit longer than we should be though.
Yeah. Staying too long there.
Yeah. Because we have 900 gold to spend, so we could have just reset after those 2 plates and wave.
Yeah, no, that would have been better.
But now we're at this point, kind of chilling, kinda.
Also, the other thing is, like, I see all those notifications of what's happening bot lane, and I'm just like, what? Like, I'm just like, what the hell's happening over there? I don't know. My friends were talking a lot. Maybe I
Yeah.
let that get in my head a little bit too. Oh, wait, is this where I get? No, not particularly greedy either. That's where I get. I could have died very
Yeah.
much so.
Page.
But, like, you know, I can see the CS, and I'm just like, everything's fine. We're up like 20. You know, we haven't died. I think it might just be like as soon as he gets Trinity that I actually hate my life. Oh no, this is okay. So that was pretty not good.
Feedback. Okay, so at this point, we're trying to shove the wave under turret as we have been for a while now. And Udyr goes to Herald. Were you aware of him doing Herald?
Yes, I just didn't.
And your support DC, nice.
Yeah, he'll be back.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah, no. So I did see him there. I can't tell you why I didn't go to help him.
Well, you shouldn't be, to
Oh,
clarify.
okay.
So the problem with you going down there is you tell them that he's there.
Right.
And GP could cause problems as well because he could follow. GP Warwick could show up. So best way to deal with this is to just keep up the pressure but not overextend. Here's where the problem arose.
Okay. Now moving into the river, did that tell them that like I
No.
don't think that okay. It's just that I overextended.
Yes. So
Okay.
you can't go past here.
Okay.
Because if you hadn't gone past that line right there, then we would have had it to where you could easily just walk away.
Right.
Or it can't ult you or anything like that. But then when you go here, and then GP's able to easily trade with you, procs passive, all that,
Yeah.
it gets bad.
Then it gets really bad, yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just kind of feel like I'm committed, so I go for seeing if I can kill him, which I don't. And this is probably where the badness really starts. Because that was the first death, right? Yeah, it's all downhill from here. Yeah, Ori comes up. They do that. Because I saw the rest of my team top, so.
Yeah, that's fine. They shouldn't be top, but they are. So, you're laughing, but why should they not be top?
Well, I mean, we already used Rift Herald and got the tower, so
Yeah.
like, why are we staying around?
Yep. Yeah. So
And the
where
next
should
big
they be?
objective will be Dragon, so
Exactly.
they should either be like resetting, spending their money, or like making their way down bot. I mean, Oriana's in the right spot, but I don't.
So, well, ideally, which this is flex queue, so you can make this actually happen, is you have bot lane go here,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have Oriana go bot, while you go top.
Okay.
Because you want to have bot lane, or you want to give bot lane the opportunity to have the most free roaming.
Okay. For for the dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Oriana still needs to be near the dragon, of course. But
Right.
you definitely don't need to be here. You have teleport.
Yeah.
So as soon as
I
you
mean,
clear
but
this wave,
considering my team was top, was it okay to come down here initially?
initially yes, especially
Okay, but
since you had
now
over
I've
a
stayed
minute.
too long, and now I see that I see GPs here, and at
Uh-huh.
this point I should just get the fuck out.
Yeah. And so
Um,
you actually had it in the perfect spot because GP wasted his teleport.
right. Yeah, I
And
saw him TP, so I was like, okay, that's good, and I told my team that.
yeah. So then I should see you going top, but I don't see
Yeah, but
that.
I don't. Yeah,
Yeah. If you
and
go top,
you see me dying to this to this Diana, I think.
yeah. Um, you go top, and then pressure that, force someone to come deal with it. Super easy, Drake. Super easy.
Right.
Um, especially because the rest of your team is slaughtering.
And GP used TP.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the other reason why this game ultimately ends up feeling so terrible is because the rest of my team is doing so great,
Mhm.
and then it like so I start to feel like I've actively thrown it, regardless of if that ends up being the truth or not.
Okay, they get a turret. Good. I really, really don't like that teleport.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I really don't like the teleport.
Okay,
So,
I had a feeling you were gonna say that.
yeah. You teleported 15 seconds before Baron spawns. Here's the thing. 3 of the enemy team just died.
Hmm.
This is the perfect opportunity to be getting Baron. There's no reason to teleport here.
Right, I could just walk there.
Yeah. Walk there or go and pressure bottom, one of the two. Preferably walk there, though, to make sure that they get it. And then you should be 100% telling them, get the Baron now.
Right.
You're just killing all of your advantage when you don't grab it. You're just wasting
Yeah.
time.
I don't know if anyone even mentioned that it was spawning. Like I mean I can't see the chat log, so I can't see.
Well, you said you guys were in
Actually,
Discord, right? So
yeah, but I also don't like if someone may have pinged it also, but oh actually we would be able to see that in
yeah,
the chat.
yeah, no one pinged it.
So yeah, we run around like chickens with our heads cut off. We don't realize Baron is there. And also GP now has Trinity Force, so this is where the pain really begins. Oh yeah, and then Nautilus is here.
Blue team has been destroyed.
Yeah. So, couple things wrong here. One, we did not ward before we started pushing the turret. Two, as I call the fundamental of split pushing, is not being applied here. So, what is the goal of split pushing?
You want to either draw, like if you draw attention to yourself, then your team can get an objective somewhere else, or like
Yes.
if they send the wrong number of people, you can get a free kill. Like it's to split them up so that you can get like I mean I think more often your team's going to accomplish something, but
Yeah,
like
that's the goal.
if but if I lure someone out here and they screw up, they could also die.
Yeah.
But it's mostly so my team can do something somewhere else, and they're not.
Exactly. So,
So
you
I'm just
cannot
here
split
screaming,
push
"Kill me!"
until they are here. Because
Right,
nothing stops them from sending the whole squad top lane.
right. And so ultimately, I don't end up dying, but they send Nautilus, and I have to flash, and it's like I could have easily died if they sent more people.
up. Weird. Catches 1 kill, but once again, back to what I said earlier, same thing.
Yeah. I want what? So that's 2 deaths now. Well, actually, the first time wasn't a death, but it wasn't good either.
And I have a feeling that same fundamental right there is going to be a cause for a lot of your deaths.
Probably, but let's see what happens. I want to see what else is wrong.
So here we actually have a team fight. Yeah. Took us so long on the ultimate.
I don't know. Let's rewind here.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was on cooldown.
It wasn't. Wait, was it? Hold on. Spectate might be being weird. Okay, no, it wasn't on cooldown. It was not.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah. We walk up. Especially because, I mean, this is your prime target, though. Right. Here.
Yeah, and I should just go
Yeah.
in.
Drop old big boy.
But
right
I get
slap in the middle.
But I get cold feet or something.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else.
Oh.
And it could have been a completely different fight. So that's just like a.
Yeah, that was hesitation.
Yeah,
That
and I
was.
mean, and that's just a set specific. Well, not even, but I mean, for him, that's
Yeah, that is a
big
definitely
problem.
set specific thing.
My Morgana somehow solo kills a Diana because she's super fed.
Just a little bit. Let's see. So where are we when the Drake dies? Okay.
I had just respawned recently, right?
Yeah, yeah. So at this point, any chance that we change whether the Drake dies to you or not?
No,
So why are we heading to Drake?
that's a good question. Honestly, the best answer that I can give you, and I know this is probably not a good answer, is that my friends are probably
Team's
yelling
gonna
it in
end?
Discord.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Well, not yelling, but like, they're probably like
Yeah.
talking about the Drake fight, and so that makes me subconsciously want to go there.
Hmm.
But you're right. At this point, whether like if I'm there, it's not going to be to get the kill on the Drake. It would only be if a fight somehow broke out. I could be there for that, maybe.
Yeah.
But
If you were like 30 seconds earlier, sure, go for the Drake. But at this
Right.
point, could be just pushing top.
right.
Do they int? I bet they do. Oh boy, yes, they do try at least. Yep.
Not enough cooldown reduction, or I could have got really.
Okay, now Oriana lives, but really bad fight to take there.
Yup. I told you this is where it all goes downhill.
Well, or at least it all visibly goes downhill.
Yeah.
This wasn't as obvious earlier how the game was going.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, the game was okay.
Right.
I don't know exactly what that point was, but. Oh yeah, don't even. Actually, no. Okay, so I was just thinking maybe we can kill her, but first of all, like that was just dumb for multiple reasons. One of which is that she doesn't even have like bonus health. My ult barely does damage to her. So it's like that was kind of throwy and stupid. And then I don't even know if I needed to TP top.
No, you didn't.
And now I'm here, and I'm like at this point, and now I'm just gonna die. And yeah, it's
Okay, Baron. Yep. The team's making the right call, getting Drake for it. That was good. Now we should be just playing back, stalling out the Baron. You should be bot as of GP. Yeah, he gets turret.
Oy vey.
Shut down.
Yeah, and then they take a terrible fight while you were top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Game ends.
Right. Which
Like 3 minutes.
and of course, not that it's the right like they should not have taken that fight, but also I should not have tried to join that fight late.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
literally just feed my life away. That's like that's save your buddy syndrome in full effect there, even though there was no world where I could save them.
And you also should have been telling them not to
I
take
well
the
I
fight.
definitely told them I was top and that I wasn't going to be there.
Oh, okay. So you did tell them and they didn't care. Okay.
I mean, all I know is I definitely told them that I was top.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and then here I'm just desperately trying to salvage something, which
Yeah.
is like maybe if I play it better, I get a kill on Warwick, but like who cares?
So, as I said, I've got the list of things, but before that, is there anything that you want me to relook at or re-explain?
Well, so I mean, what parts of this were good or you know what I mean? Like, because I don't. I'm trying to look at not only the negatives, because I know at least I know for myself if I fixate on everything that is completely negative, I'm gonna get like really depressed.
Okay.
Um, so I'm just wondering what I actually did well or at least reasonably well in this game.
So, the build was correct. Um, at least as much to my knowledge, since I don't main set.
Okay.
Um,
That's-
obviously you bought
Is
control wards, which
yeah.
is good.
I don't know. I
Um,
don't know how to gauge if your CS is competitive or not, but
well, no, your CS should have been higher, but that was mostly due to a lot of deaths.
okay, that's fair.
Um, yeah.
But I mean, at least twice in this game, I screw up the split push completely.
Mhm.
Shut down.
I mean, I was kind of pleased with the fact that I didn't. I don't know how many minutes it was until my first death, but like I didn't have an early laning death, which was at least for me felt good because there are some games where that absolutely does happen.
Yeah, yeah, you did somewhat avoid GP's poke. Um, oh yeah, that was this.
Yeah, that was the
Um,
what are you doing with your life?
yeah. I mean,
And it's fine if if it's fine if the rest of it is terrible. I'm
it's
just
like you went 1-9-10, so I don't know what you're
no,
expecting.
I was just trying to
Yeah.
find something that wasn't terrible. That's all. But no, it's I get it. I mean,
Minions have spawned.
the other thing is like at a certain point in the game, definitely I don't. It was definitely after he had Triforce and probably after at least one or two of my unnecessary deaths is when I was getting tilted.
Mhm.
Um, and I think part of the reason is that I just have it in my head that like GP is just better than me as the game goes on. Which first of all, who knows if first of all, I don't know if that's objectively true.
That is
And okay, and then even if it is, like that doesn't necessarily mean I should be playing the way I am.
correct.
Or at the very least I should be tell like, hey guys, their team scales harder than ours. We need to do something and then try to end. Like, maybe actually take that Baron at 20 minutes instead of just walking around like idiots in their jungle or whatever happened at 20. But yeah, it was pretty bad. Um I mean, a lot of it is just like my macro decision made. I mean, I didn't ulti Nautilus in that one fight, but
I mean, there were a couple micro things, but it was mostly wave management and then being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
yeah. God. Sometimes it's just really hard to like consciously recognize these things.
Like the mistakes you're making, or
Or even not necessarily like or like how do I put it? Also, actually, can we go back like 30 to when I was in that bush? I just noticed something. So he doesn't. Does he just place it? How does he cancel it? Does he put it in the bush and that gives him vision? Or okay, I saw that again and I was like, how did that happen? But anyway, um, yeah, it feels to me like I don't, or at least in this game, I did not do a good job. Where like after I died the first time from not split pushing correctly, I mean I shouldn't have died that way anyway if I was playing correctly, but I should, adjust and not do that again, and I don't. I just let it happen again at a later point in the game. But, it's like I recognize that I fucked up and then I don't fix it.
yeah. Well, part of the problem is because you didn't know why you screwed up.
Right.
So you can do the same thing in two different games and it'll work one time and not work the other. And so you think you screwed up one time and not the other, but in reality you screwed up in both.
Right.
And that's because until you have enough knowledge to fix it, most of the time your logic is going to be result based.
Right, and not indicative of the actual problem.
Correct.
Okay.
Which obviously is the goal of coaching, is to find those problems that you're having trouble seeing yourself.
Right. Well, at least I buy control boards.
Yeah.
I mean, it does trigger me that's too strong a word, but it upsets me when people never buy any. So, um, yeah, I mean, I guess this was pretty bad.
Guess I'll go ahead and start typing out the notes then. Was the one that got you killed. No. So, any questions on any of these? Oh, no, I actually have one more.
Don't go to Drake. Yep.
I should put Baron too, because I'd apply that. Speaking of which, so let's say that Baron is about to die, or not about to die, but the enemy team is killing Baron, and you have no way to do anything about it because your jungler is dead or something.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do in that instance?
Well, if you're, I mean, you can go bottom because it's the furthest way away and just push that lane in.
Okay. So you have part of what I was looking for. So you do want to push a wave. Now, the reason that you push a wave, and it really doesn't matter what lane, is because if you push the wave, then it takes them longer to pressure with the Baron minions.
Right.
And so actually, ideally, it would be mid lane because that's probably what they're going to look to pressure next.
But
yeah,
it buys
bot
you
lane
time
too.
to wait out that buff.
Yeah, it just helps you stall. But back to what I was saying though. Any questions on any of these? Or anything else really?
So, well, you said you were going to talk about the map awareness.
Oh yeah. My bad. So
Yeah, I should let you talk about that first.
So the way you work on map awareness, um, is you can either get a timer, like off of Google, that beeps every 5 seconds, and you just force it into your brain, which is torture, but it can work at least initially until you start to zone it out. Um, or which this will also fix autopiloting, which I think is partially an issue. Do you know what I mean by autopiloting?
Yes, yeah, just
Um, very, very common low elo issue, and I think that it is the primary reason that any player is in low elo is because of autopiloting. Um, Usually it's not even because of a knowledge issue, it's because they're not using the knowledge that they do have. Um, so you fix autopiloting by consciously, yeah, but constantly thinking about what you should be doing. And if you're going to do something, you have to explain why it's a
yeah,
good
there has to
idea.
be some sort of rationale.
Uh-huh. So, for example, if you walk up level 1 um, on these minions and you start hitting them, you need to be telling yourself before you do it, why are you hitting the minions? Potentially consequences or pros and cons of it. And if you can't tell yourself why you're doing it, then there's an issue.
Right.
And then you probably shouldn't be doing it. Or if you think it's a good idea, but you can't figure it out really at all because you just have no idea, then I guess message me and we can maybe figure that part out. But probably most of the time you can rationalize it yourself, especially what I told you earlier about shoving and freezing.
Right.
Yeah, and so you can do that all throughout the game. So if you're split pushing, you gotta tell yourself, why is it good to hit this turret here? And then you look at the map and you're like, oh, my teammates aren't pressuring, so then you back up.
Right.
So you just keep doing that over and over again until it becomes habit, and you don't have to really try to think throughout the game. And if you have issues with remembering to think, then maybe again put on a timer every couple of minutes that just beeps and reminds you to think about what you're doing, maybe. So you don't just go into complete zombie mode while playing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. And I mean, you can tell just by watching. Like, I have hesitations and confidence issues, and it's not great.
Yeah. Which that'll all hopefully go away as you improve on all this. Oh, I never actually talked about do I split push or do I team fight? Because you said that was an
Yeah.
issue. Um,
It. I mean, it. Yeah. Go ahead.
okay, so it depends on if you can win a team fight. Um, if you can win 5v5, then sure, go team fight if your team's ahead. Um, if if you going into the fight doesn't change whether you win it or not, then split push.
Okay.
Um, Generally, that's gonna be why. Because if you can team fight, it's gonna be way more consistent than split pushing because you just kill them as 5. You don't have to worry about someone getting picked or anything like that. You can just go for a straight up fight and force it.
Yeah. Obviously, there's an F ton of macro mistakes in here. And I know that those are a really big deal. Is there any like micro mistakes that are worth mentioning?
Hmm. I didn't
Or
really mention them
okay.
because uh all it
W-
really was aiming your skill shots was bad.
Right.
And then obviously the Nautilus ultimate. But
Yeah.
I also didn't want to distract you from the main issue.
Yep, that's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah. So, which to be fair, I did already write down a lot. But if I were to go into macro, that'd be even more. And I didn't want to get too overloaded.
Yep.
with
No, that makes sense.
all of this. But I guess I can talk about the skill shots though, because there's one in particular that I'm thinking of. Maybe I can find it.
Is it the one where I'm standing in the river and miss by a mile?
Yeah.
Let's see exactly when that happens.
Yeah.
I think it's shortly before Warwick shows up, but we'll see.
Because I know he was doing Rift Herald. It may be for a minute here. Oh, this is where. No, because that's Drake. Get Herald. Did he get the Herald? Oh no, he didn't because he got stopped.
Okay, wait a minute. I think we're approaching.
I'll keep going. Just on ×8 speed.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Okay, I think it's over in. I think it's coming up soon.
I know he goes to red buff, and then he gets it.
Oh yeah, I think it's coming up here soon.
There we go. This looks like it. Okay, yeah, I remember this now. Okay, so he's on Herald. Killing.
A summoner
Excuse me. Oh, okay. Yep. That was it, right?
No, that wasn't the one.
Oh, that
actually.
wasn't it?
It was that one.
Okay.
Okay, back.
Yeah, this was just the "what are you doing" aim where he's supposed to be walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no real explanation for that. Yeah, I mean, if I should have just aimed it a little more up.
Reason being, because if you aim it a little bit more upwards, then either he walks into true damage or he walks closer to Udyr, which is
Right.
the goal.
Yeah. Yep. No, that was definitely suboptimal.
And then I also saw. Might be a little bit past this because there's a wave you were clearing.
a summoner has
That one. Oh no, it was that one. Okay. Yeah. So like, here, there are multiple instances where you are throwing the W without even trying to hit the gangplank at the same time.
And at that point, it's just like, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, I get that you're trying to push the wave, but it's free damage.
Right.
And also because you said you were trying to use it as a shield for his Q, but if you're not shielding
Right.
anything, then
Yeah,
much
that's the
out.
other thing is sometimes like I'm not always consistent with like I say that my idea is to do one thing and then I don't do that. So I guess the question is like, what's the homework in particular?
The homework?
Like, well, I know that's the homework, but I meant like,
Or micro.
Well, no, I mean, do you think I should try getting a timer, like you said? Like I'm just talking about like actual, you know, thing.
So I would focus on everything else really before map awareness.
Okay.
Because that's gonna be the one that's the hardest to implement. You
Okay.
know, just work your way on easy to harder. But then when it comes to the map awareness, that's really for you to decide on if you think that you're gonna be able to do what I was talking about, where you're thinking all the time. For some, it's more natural than others, especially since I stream. I'm used to it, just constantly talking to myself on why I should do certain things. But if that's not natural or you keep forgetting, then you can use the timer if you just have to manually do that.
Okay.
Kind of depends on the person. So yeah, like the first thing that I'd probably focus on is just well, you're gonna get the most out of working on this. Just really focusing on when you should push versus not push, and that will help with a lot.
But I mean, it's way different against melees, right?
No, it's still the same.
Oh, okay. Well,
Um, so at least the theory in it is still the same. So
where-
it's going to be even more applicable in the melees actually. So if now obviously this part isn't going to be melee.
right.
But yeah, so if like let's say we're against a Darius. Um,
Ugh, the devil.
yeah. So the way that Darius kills you is by chasing you down the lane, particularly if they take Ghost, while stacking their passive. If you freeze the wave, all of that is gone. Because you can safely farm under your turret. Darius is very vulnerable to ganks because he has no escape. And then you can just run him over anytime he gets greedy.
Okay, so this is when you say freeze, you don't even mean just get the last hit. You mean, or like that free. That's when. What exactly do you mean?
Okay, I didn't realize
Is
you didn't know what a freeze was.
no, I've heard the term a million times, and I feel like I kind of understand it, but
Okay.
maybe I don't.
Okay. I didn't pick up on that. So when I say freezing, well, I guess I'll talk about it all of them. So obviously you know shoving because you talked about that.
Yeah.
Just killing it. So slow pushing is when you have slightly more minions than them and you build up a big wave.
Yeah, you don't you kill the ranged ones?
Yeah, you can do that, but it really is
Okay.
just as long as you have more than them.
Okay.
By a little bit. Now freezing, what that is it can be really in any part, but so there's like multiple lines across the lane, kind of. Well, that was terrible. We'll say here, here, here. It's not perfect, but we'll pretend this is out of turret range. Okay, so freezing, or the whole concept of freezing, is keeping the wave in a single spot in the lane that you want it. So, for example, here, in order to keep the wave right in the middle of the lane, this will be achieved by having the same amount of minions from both sides.
Right.
Because they're going to kill each other and it's going to even out. Generally, unless you give it really long situations where eventually one would battle out but would last standing, that doesn't really matter. That would only happen like practice tool. But then we got this one takes 0. This one, it takes one more minion on the enemy side to keep it there. The reason being because your minions get to this point faster because it's closer. And so you just have to even it out that way. And then here it takes 2. And then probably like here it takes 3 and 4.
So I guess my question is this: if you are only last hitting,
Yes.
the lane is still not going to be fully frozen. Well, I mean, if both of you are just last hitting, then the lane will be frozen, right? Like,
Yes. So, if you're both last hitting and he has one more minion than you, it
the
will
wave will
freeze you.
push. Yeah. Okay.
Now, well, yeah, if he has one more and it's here, it will push to you.
Right.
Now, and I was going to get to that. This only applies if you are pushing at equal amounts. So you have to match whatever they're doing in order to pull this off. So if you're last hitting and he's last hitting, there's no problem. But if Gangplank is using his barrels to blow up the minion waves, then you have to match that push in order to make it to where it doesn't just blow through this.
Okay. I mean, I don't really know how easily you can do that as this hero.
Yeah. Once you get A couple levels, it's a little bit easier, but you don't always have to freeze it perfectly. As long as it's pushing into you, it's gonna achieve the main goal of just not being up here to farm.
Right. It
You
keeps
know.
you safe. It keeps you closer to your tower. It keeps you safer.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. I just that was the whole thing because I hear people talk about this concept, but if you're both last hitting, then hypothetically the lane will be frozen. But like if you're last hitting and the lane is empty, it's still gonna push because you're adding damage.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay, I see. Oh man. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really have any. If I have any other questions, I don't know how to form them. Put it that way.
Okay. Um. Like, is it on a specific topic that you have the question about? Like,
No,
is
I
there
mean,
still confusion
part of
on
me is
freezing
just
or?
so well. Part of me is just thinking like, because like I don't know. I can't formulate the idea properly. It's I feel like I screw up the wave a lot.
Uh huh.
Um, but then again, but I mean, buying like just the act of buying Tiamat, like you said, whether or not that was right, that sort of forces you towards shoving the wave more.
Generally, yeah.
So like just as a hypothetical, I'm playing against the GP here.
Hmm.
Like if you were in my position, would you buy Tiamat or would you not? Because if you if you don't, my fear is that he's just going to keep like eventually, he's just going to keep pushing it in, which is not a bad thing, but I wanted to I don't know, maybe that's just the wrong approach and that maybe I should have just not bought Tiamat and just let him free push it in and just deal with it. Like that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
It depends on how behind you are. So if you're behind to the point where post like level 6 or something like that,
Hmm.
um, you can't farm safely in the middle of the lane, you probably shouldn't be getting Tiamat because you're not going to be able to clear the wave without getting chunked.
Okay.
Because you're in order to clear the wave with Tiamat and benefit from it, you have to go, auto a Tiamat, whatever. If you can't do that, you don't buy Tiamat. But if you can do that because you're strong enough to either just sustain in the lane or pressure him off of you, then you would want to go Tiamat.
Okay. And again, I don't think it had a particularly well, I don't actually I shouldn't say that, but I mean, because you said at the start, take Conqueror, knock like pretty much always
Yes.
is my assumption. Okay. I mean, that's what I do the vast majority of the time. I've seen people toying around with other keystones to see if there's something better, but I can't find one that's better. So,
The only time where you would even consider grasp on someone like Sett is in really high elo, when your opponents are too good for you to benefit from Conqueror
okay.
properly. But that's like really, really high elo,
Yeah,
higher
no,
than me.
sure. Wait. Okay.
Because I'm Diamond 4 and I take Conqueror every game on Garen because they're not good enough to make me take something else.
Okay. So, yeah. Um so yeah, I mean, I guess I just have to practice.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of practicing, but as as you work on it, if you get some of it down, it'll become a little easier, and then we can maybe have another session if you're still having difficulty implementing it or want to
Yeah,
find new
actually that
things.
well, that was going to be my other question is just because this is my first time doing this, like how, do people tend to like follow up with you or
Unfortunately, no, they don't.
oh, but they
Um,
should.
yeah, like I usually tell them like you can, and they just never message me, or if they do,
Oh,
it's like
okay.
a quick message, but they don't ever set up another session. Um, but yeah, you're 100% okay to ask for another session. I don't limit people; they just don't message me
Right.
for another one. As long as I can tell that you're actually working on this stuff and you haven't played Earth for the past 10 weeks and then message me, then we're
Right.
good.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I mean, this has been very productive, I guess. I don't know. I'm just, as you can tell, I'm still thinking a lot and processing, but I think that's normal because
Yeah,
you
definitely.
threw a bunch of information at me. Um, and then this is just a very simple thing that I want to ask you because I think I psych myself out with this a lot. So, because keep in mind we're in bronze
Yeah.
here, so obviously like matchups matter, like to an extent. Like I'm not gonna I don't enjoy picking into like ranged heroes or what have you. But just as an example, like when I play, I like, for example, like Renekton, just as an example here, because Renekton is an asshole and his W goes through your shield
Agreed.
be, because fuck him. Um, like, does it even, like, you know what I mean? Like, even if I find myself in like a matchup that I don't think is good, like, I feel like I get in my head sometimes. Like, I go into this game with the Gangplank, and like I said at the start, one of my first thoughts is, oh well, this game gets worse for me the longer it gets, which I mean, there is truth to that. So I guess it's not really a useless thought, but it's not good to go in with that kind of attitude. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel that way again. Like, sometimes I'll be like, I'll first pick because the champ is still pretty popular. So like, if I want him, I usually have to like first pick him.
Yep.
And then if they do get like a Renekton, or the two that piss me off currently are Renekton and Darius. They piss a lot of people off. And and it's just like sometimes I feel like there's a barrier even to just getting into the game, you know what I mean? And I just don't know, like, it's not useful to fixate on that, but at this elo, like, that should is that gonna, like,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
right, exactly. I was gonna say it shouldn't really matter. I mean, if your opponent's like better than you and they have a good matchup, they're gonna be ahead of you. But like, see, this is my problem. I get inside my head too much. It's not a useful thing. Um, I should just fucking pick the small pool of champions that I want to pick from and work on them. Um, which is really like Sett and Camille, and I don't even third one is.
Um, and so well, I had a couple things. So first off, you talked about scaling.
Hmm.
Um, Scaling only really applies if the enemy team doesn't hard throw their lead, which bronze
Okay.
players and silver players do all the time. So you will have plenty of opportunities to come back into the game. They will make sure of it.
Okay.
And then when it comes to laning phase, like with bad matchups and stuff, you have to also remember they're bronze.
Hmm.
So all of this negates that bad matchup.
Okay. So basically, just don't psych myself out over the bad matchups.
Yes.
Okay.